Okay, I'm back again. Here is those Carrillo connecting rods that I was telling you about. See, looking at that pin, you wouldn't never even know that pin was ever offset. Looks perfect now. My machinist did a hell of a job on these. So this is it's a force pressure fed wrist pin. See the hole? The hole goes all the way up through the center of the rod, and then there's a hole here, and then it feeds the wrist pin with the oil pressure of the motor. Now you can see that the rod bearings have to have a hole drilled into them. You see that hole? And it also has to be narrowed. Not only does it have to be narrowed, but there's a radius that has to be machined in there. So not only it have to be narrowed and a radius put in there because of the radius of the crankshaft, because if you don't put that radius in there, then the crankshaft will hit on this, and we have all kinds of problems. And so the hole has to be drilled, radius has to be drilled. I'm going to put this in a rod, kind of show you what it looks like, and then I'll explain to you more about how the connecting rods have to go into the motor. So I'm just going to open this up here, and I'm going to put the rod bearings in where they're supposed to go. The tang, obviously the one with a hole in it, goes to the upper part of the rod. It goes in, fits in real nice. My machinist did a hell of a job on these. Just, if I didn't have the machine shop that I had around here, and he knows who he is, I'd be sunk, because he's a great guy, great machinist. Anyways, I'm going to put this in here, both the upper and lower half, and I'll put it together. Now the connecting rod now has the bearings in it. I'm going to put it together, and then I'm going to show you what I mean by the radius of the one side. Okay, now you see the bearings are in there now. Now you see this radius? See, it's been machined. If you can see that or not. You see that? See how nice it is in there? So you got the oil hole, you got the radius. So you got the radius on this side. This is the side that goes basically always to, I don't know how you want to say it, the outside of the two journals. So you got the radius side, and you got a flat side. See the bearings machine flat too. Flat side, radius side. So the flat sides, when you put the motor together, always go to each other. Flat sides always go to each other, radius always on the outside. I'll get another rod, show you. Here's another rod. Flat side, they go like this. Radius to the outside, always a radius to the outside. It goes in the motor like that. So, when you put the motor together, flat sides always got to go to each other, and the radius of the connecting rods always have to go to the radius of the crankshaft. If you flip them over or do one, or I don't think you'll even get it together, so I don't think you got a choice about it, but you could possibly put it together like that. I don't know how, but maybe. But it's something you don't want to do, because you will bind the motor up and blow it up, and you don't want parts flopping out of your oil pan. That's bad. Knock on wood. Never had it happen. Hopefully never will. And I do turn this motor up to $8 grand, something like that. This motor combination has been dynoed a few times. Like I said, I've been building motors for a while. Should make between 550 to 575, probably closer to 575. When we get done showing you how to build the motor, I'm teaching my 17-year-old son how to build motors, so he's going to be in here too. So we're going to put this motor together. I'm not going to take it to an engine dyno. We're going to break it in on the street, and then we're going to go to rear wheel dyno, and you know, put the car all together, go to rear wheel dyno, and then take it to the 8th mile. I kind of know what this car is going to do because I've been driving it for 5 years. So, like I said, I know all the ins and outs. I almost got it down to a science. I know what it's going to do, but I want to show you guys and kind of surprise you. You know what I mean? If I tell you the numbers now, then you're going to be like, you know, it's not even worth watching, right? So I'm going to kind of surprise you. It's a good running car. The car itself is an automatic transmission. It's a C4. I build the transmission, I build the motors, I paint my own cars, I do everything, do my own interiors, I do my own convertible tops. Nobody touches my cars. I've just learned that if you want it done right, you do it yourself. So, and I'm all for doing it myself. I got 2 great machine shops nearby. They do everything that I need them to do. They do it exactly the way I tell them to do it. Great guys. But anyways, the car is an automatic C4 transmission. The same tires that I'm going to use at the drag strip, I use on the street, and I oval track it too. I've had all kinds of different tires combinations on this car. Once again, pay close attention to the tires I run. It has a 247 gear in it, so I don't run like 350s or 388s. I had a 273 in it or something along those lines, 270 gear in it, and I went and put the 247 in it, and I'm real happy with the 247. It has a 5200 stall converter, so it's a big converter. It's a reverse pattern valve body, so you gotta manually shift it, but it's an automatic transmission. I want to put a paddle shifter on there because I find it very hard to hold the car on the road and shift at the same time. But you know, maybe I'm getting old. But as far as an automatic transmission with this Mazda Miata, I don't know. I know you guys like banging gears, stick shifts, and I've had stick shifts all my life too. But this C4 and this Mazda Miata is fast, and there's no pausing in between the gears. I think you're going to be pretty surprised. Anyways, till next time. Well, good morning, everybody. This is day 2 to Poor Man's Garage. Yesterday we talked about the block, main bearings, rod bearings, you know, how to get your clearances, oil clearances. Today we're going to we'll get a little bit more technical into the connecting rods and how to order a custom crankshaft, which is it's quite a to-do on that. Anyways, I just wanted to tell everybody about keeping everything clean. You know. Everything has to be clean. I use surgical rags that I bought on eBay, 100 rags for $35. And I use shop towels, but they're special shop towels too. Basically everything's got to be lint free. And when I was mentioning that the block had to be machined, decked, honed, and with a torque plate and line honed, and we talked about it yesterday. that after all that's done, it absolutely has to be hot tanked, and then all the oil gallery holes have to be all brushed, and you know, the outfit that's going to machine it, when you ask them, it's going to have to be clean. They're going to do this for you, and everything you have to do on a race motor or any kind of motor, the lubrication and being clean is key. It might be a old beat up garage, but the motor's clean, the crankshaft clean. Everything that I put into it is inspected with a high powered light and mirrors, and a light like that, high powered light, mirrors, everything's clean. And when I get it back from the machine shop, I take the oil plugs out and I look down the oil galleries with a mirror and a flashlight and make sure that they do it the way I want, make sure that it's clean. When the crankshaft comes back, I use mineral spirits, it's cleaned, and then I blow it out with air. Everything gets blown out with air. You know, everything that I do is clean. So anyways, we're going to get a little bit more technical on the connecting rods and ordering a crankshaft. So when you're ordering a custom crankshaft, basically you're going to need the following in your hand before you can order the crankshaft. You're going to need to have your pistons. You're going to have your connecting rods. You're going to have your connecting rod bearings. So you're going to need pistons, rings, clips, pins, the connecting rods, the technical sheet on the connecting rods, and your rod bearings. Everything has to get weighed, because when they make the crankshaft, they're going to need to know the bob weights of your assembly. So that means you gotta weigh the pistons, and you gotta weigh the rings, and you gotta weigh the piston pins, the small end of the connecting rod, the big end of the connecting rod, the rod bearings, and then they're gonna need all the technical information on connecting rods and pistons. And anyways, we'll get a little bit more into detail into that. But it is, that's stuff that you need before you can even think about ordering a crankshaft. So anyways, I'm going to get the tech sheet on the connecting rods, these used connecting rods on eBay that I picked up, and I'll show you more on the tech sheet, how to read it, and what your tech sheet should look like. All right. Okay, I'm back. I have one connecting rod in my hand, and the tech sheet of the connecting rod. So this is what it is. It's, I don't know if you can read that or not. It's Carrillo. All right, Carrillo Industries. Here's when the connecting rods were made. All right. They're made March 1998, and the purchaser is Roush Industries. All right. Now it's going to have center to center on the rod. Remember, I was telling you about the center to center on the rod. Is 5/461. Remember, I was telling you that it's a weird rod. So on your tech sheet, you have center to center on the rod, 5/461, and then it says PE bore, and that's the wrist pin bore, not on the small end. And you see, remember I was telling you there's a weird pin too. It's an 866 pin. BE bore, it's a big end bore, 2.1 24/7, 2.1247. Now the big end bore is, that's without the bearing in it. That's what it measures without the bearing. And then it says big end, BE thickness. That's big end thickness. Remember I was telling you that it's also a weird size too. It's 800 on the width. All right. And then it gives you your weights. This is what you really need to order the crankshaft. The weights, the total weight on mine, this is total weight, is 566 grams. Rotating weight is 399 grams. And reciprocating is 167. And I'm going to try to give you a better look at that sheet. Alright. So now, when you're buying anything used on eBay, you just don't know, right? But if you look at this, you'll see it on it, it says job number. Yeah, if you can see that or not. Job number. Okay. Job number is 16572. 16572. And if you look at that connecting rod, you'll see it's lasered etched into the connecting rod. 16572. So these are definitely the connecting rods for this job sheet. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about connecting rod bolts. Now, you know, everybody knows about the ARP 2000 bolts. You know, that's a great bolt, but if you look at any of the NASCAR guys, you'll see that they run this bolt. It's called a CARR, CARR. And if you ever look at the bolts, new, you might be able to find them used on eBay maybe. For a set of CARR bolts is $600, no matter where you go, all day long. Now, if you look at these, you'll see on there, it says CARR, CARR. Alright. And this is part of your tech sheet. It gives you a sheet on the stretch recommendation, and on it it says 3/8, and it gives you, you know, the diameters of the different CARR bolts. It has a 1/4 CARR bolt, 5/16, 3/8, 7/16. So you have to figure out what size bolt that is, and it's on the tech sheet. So you just look at the tech sheet, and somewhere on this tech sheet, there it is, right there. 3/8 SPS CARR. And if you look at the bolt, you can see it or not, but it says SPS CARR. Right, so go down to the tech sheet, look at the tech sheet, and it says 3/8 SPS CARR. Recommended stretch is 5 to 7 thousandths, okay? And you're supposed to torque it, do not exceed 65 foot-pounds. Okay, it says do not exceed 65 foot-pounds. So you're looking from 5 to 7 thousand stretch on the rod bolts, but do not exceed 65 foot-pounds. What that means is on your connecting rod, you look at this end, there's like a little indentation here. And then this end is got a pocket in it. There's a tool, special tool you can buy that's going to go from here to here. All right. And what you do is you mic it without the rod being stretched, in the state it is now, without it being stretched. You gotta mic the bolt with the special tool. You know, just bring it down by hand. You have to have ARP ultra torque on the bolts. It comes with it on there, but you put more on there. ARP ultra torque with the bolts. Tighten it down by hand, and you mic it. You write that down, like each end. Write that down, whatever it is. Then, when you put it in the motor, again, just like I torque everything else up in the motor, I go in stages. All right. I start out 10-10. I torque this to 10 pounds. Torque this 10 pounds, like nice and even in the motor. 10 pounds. And I'll go 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 55. Then I'll check it at about 55, maybe 50. And I'll see what kind of stretch I got on the rod bolt, because I'm looking somewhere between 5 and 7. I want to hit, and I want to hit it at 65 foot-pounds. It says do not exceed 65 foot-pounds, but I want to torque mine to 65, hopefully. So I'm at 55, so I go to 60. I check it, see where I'm at. Hopefully I'm close to 5. So then I go to 65, and I see where I'm at. And as long as I hit if I got between 5 and 7 thousandths stretch on these bolts, I'm in good shape. I hit 65 foot-pounds. Maybe I got 5, maybe I got 6, maybe I got 7. I don't know. But hopefully it's in there. And when I torqued them up, I've never really seen one that didn't hit the numbers. But that's the proper way to torque your connecting rods. These particular connecting rods, you got car bolts, a Carrillo connecting rod. It's a small journal. These connecting rods here, the NASCAR guys buzz these up to 9,700 RPMs all day long. And I don't know how much horsepower it's good for. If I was to take a stab at it, I would say you probably put 2,000 horsepower into this connecting rod all day long and never hurt it with the car bolts. It's a big difference with a standard bolt and a car bolt. These babies you can really buzz up. Anyways, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the crankshaft here in a little bit. All right, thanks.